We'll stick with the NFC South to talk about the Los
Sure.
Angeles Rams traveling to New Orleans to try to fight off the voodoo that has been the Saints turnaround this
Well
season.
done. You're doing
And
real well with the transitions today, Trev. I really
thank you. I
appreciate it.
appreciate it. I'm motivated to get to the Thanksgiving food. What can I say? All right.
Same.
So the Rams, I'm interested. Okay, where are you going with this one? What's the matchup that matters here with you? Because I think there's a couple of different angles that you can attack this with the Saints sort of playing on the hot streak that they're in, winners of two straight. The Rams obviously trying to stay right there at the top of the division,
Right.
coming off of a bad, I don't want to say bad loss, but it was a sizable loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. The
Yeah.
Eagles really put it on them at 37 points. So just overall, a matchup that matters. Where are we starting with this one? Because I think we're going to go a couple of different directions.
Yeah, I mean, you could have really established that you were the force to be reckoned with in the NFC West if you were to have taken down the Philadelphia Eagles at home. That did not happen. When it's stuff like this, though, I go to the trenches because that's the type of person I am. And you look at the Saints offensive line, which has Eric McCoy back and is playing a lot better on the whole, despite, I think Lucas Patrick is injured. I don't know his status for this game. But you look at them against the Rams defensive line, which we've talked about at length this year, that though they are young, though they are reeling from the loss of Aaron Donald to retirement this past offseason, are they really? Because while it's not been a one-to-one kind of plug-and-play player, because how could you possibly do that with Aaron Donald? You have a lot of young guys that are doing some wonderful things for you. Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, they lead the Rams in pressures right now, 48 for Jared Verse, 36 for Kobe Turner. You got Byron Young with 34 right there, Braden Fisk right there with 34. I mean, these guys are all kind of clustered at the top, and it's created this kind of rotation there that is really hard to contend with. And this is going to be a test for the Saints offensive line, which is healthier now. And Derek Carr has been pretty solid behind them this season when he's been in 86.7 PFF grade, fourth overall, 87.5 passing grade, third overall. Saints 30 completions, gaining 20 or more yards, ranks tied for 21st in the league. So there's some kind of ground to be made up there. Are they going to get the chance to do it, or will the Rams defensive line have something to say about it?
No, I think that this is the biggest matchup of the game. There's no doubt about it, because when the Saints offensive line has been healthy and all out there, at least for the most part, especially with McCoy back, I should say,
Yeah.
over the last 3 weeks, 70s grades like across the board. I mean, the offensive line is just playing better, whether it's run blocking, whether it's pass blocking. They're playing really well as a unit, and I think that it's no coincidence that Eric McCoy in the middle of that offensive line is a big reason why. Rams defensive line, they've been playing really well until they went up against the Eagles offensive line last week. And I wonder if that was sort of a shock to them, like a cold water on the face of like, oh, okay, we were playing really well. And then we went up against one of the best in the NFL, and we weren't ready for it. I think they're certainly going to be ready for it against the New Orleans Saints. So you mentioned a couple of the names there for the Rams. They've definitely got to show up and be a little bit better. But, it was guys like, Bobby Brown and Kobe Turner and Tyler Davis and even Jared Verse last week that Byron Young too, I think just were not playing well. Braden Fisk, basically the only guy who graded well against the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's just got to be better amongst that group. And so I think that is certainly a matchup that matters. Rams wide receivers versus the Saints secondary, moving on from Marshawn Lattimore and with oh my goodness, what was who's the corner who is out for the season with the leg injury? Alontae Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taylor, who is now
Taylor,
out
yeah.
who is now out for the year. So it's like, man, those two wide receivers, if you don't have the corners that are ready for it, I mean, they're going to cook. We even saw that last week with how well those guys were able to play even in the garbage time
Right.
touchdown for Cooper Kupp. So to me, it is that Rams defensive line versus Saints offensive line, but I think the Rams wide receivers versus the Saints secondary, certainly after the trade deadline and the Marshawn Lattimore trade, matters a lot here as well. Plus factor here, what do you got?
This is actually something for both teams. It's the money downs. It's the ones that matter most. It's third, fourth down. It's red zone efficiency. It's all that kind of stuff. Who can be better? Because both of these teams kind of have struggled a little bit when it comes to third and fourth down conversions. Rams are at 35.7%. That's 27th in the league, so not great. Saints are at 40.5%, which is 15th, very average. Red zone touchdown efficiency too. Rams 51.3%. That ranks 23rd. Saints quite a bit better, 60%. That ranks 8th in the league. So top 10 numbers there for them. But who essentially can be better and convert, stay on the field offensively, convert that into offensive production, and ultimately score points. breaking news, guys. Guys, the team that scores the more points wins the game.
I was wrong. It wasn't Alontae Taylor. It was Paulson Adebo. Adebo was the one who went. I couldn't remember which one it was. And it was Paulson Adebo. No, I do. I agree with you. I think that how the Saints in particular finish in the red zone, because to me that's the biggest plus factor in this one is, can the Saints still stay hot in the red zone? I think that this is a flawed team in certain ways. I shouldn't say flawed, inconsistent teams in a lot of ways. And I think the Jekyll and Hyde of the season sort of highlights that around their injuries, but they have been able to still stay pretty relatively efficient when it comes to the red zone. And Clint Kubiak's done a really good job there. And I think how the Saints play in the red zone is going to be meaningful in this one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below. So if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.